viewers and listeners, it's Ed Fox and Nashville2, and I get two guests for the price of one. Like, I'm not paying them to be on the show, and they're not paying me, but it's a saying, right? It's a saying. Don't get all picky. So we're here with Jacob and Joe. That's kind of handy, two J's. Like, okay, so guys, who am I going to direct the first question to?
Hit me, Ed.
Hit me, baby, one more time. Okay, so Joe. So Joe, are you from Nashville originally?
I'm not. I'm from Salt Lake City originally, Utah.
Okay, great. So how long have you been in the Nashville area?
10 years now.
Oh, okay. So I'm new. Like, this is I've done one full year in Nashville, but with COVID and stuff, I haven't been able to go anywhere. Like, it's been crazy. So I'm still learning about Nashville. So if I flub anything, like say something silly, you just call me on it, right?
Okay. You got
That's the whole point of the show. The whole point of the show is for those of us that have been here a short period of time, or maybe we've been here all of our lives. Maybe we're a unicorn. I had one of them on yesterday. He was born and raised in Nashville, and he was giving me some good insight. So Joe, whereabouts in the Nashville area do you live right now?
Nolensville.
Nolensville. Okay. So what's your favorite go-to food place out in Nolensville?
Well, anyone that knows Nolensville knows that Martin's Barbecue is where it's at, because that's where it started, as I understand, and then has grown to what it is today. They've got several locations, but Martin's Barbecue is my go-to.
Okay. And do you have a favorite coffee? Are you a coffee drinker? Is there a favorite coffee shop out there?
I am not.
You can't say the one that we all know, because that doesn't count.
The S word. Is that what you're
S word? We can't say that.
No, but I am not a coffee drinker, but
okay.
I go to coffee a lot as I try to get out and network and meet people. And so when I go to coffee, even though I drink usually water or diet soda, it's Mama Java's.
Mama Java's?
Mama Java's, right in Nolensville. Yep.
Okay, so that'd be good. Like if somebody's living in Hendersonville or they're down in Cool Springs and they're going to be up in your neck of the woods, good to know a couple of those places. Okay, and Jacob, same question for you. You a Nashvilleian? Is it Nashvilleian? Did we say Nashvilleian?
Yeah, Nashville. I think Nashvilleian is what they say. Yes and no. So I was born in Chattanooga, so I'm a Tennessee native.
Okay.
Born in Chattanooga, and then I've lived in basically Brentwood, basically Nashville, for the last almost 15 years. Before that, in Thompson Station, and then before that, Memphis, and then obviously I was born in Chattanooga. So I've been around here, basically my entire life. So I would consider myself a Nashvilleian.
Right. So. Well, it's funny. I just heard through my ears two places that I knew. So I'd heard of Thomas Station. We were actually looking at a house down there. So I'm like, oh, maybe I am becoming more used to this. I have learned, do not drive anywhere in Nashville at any time. It's crazy. Coming from Wichita, Kansas for the last 30 years. Nashville reminds me of Sydney before they built more highways. It took you forever to get anywhere in Sydney.
Oh, wow.
And Nashville's about the same. Although I do find that I can get from one side of town to the other most of the time in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Unless it's rush hour. So, Jacob, same question for you. So which part of town are you in now?
Brentwood. So I'm in Brentwood, not far from Joe. Yeah.
So Brentwood and Nolensville is close together?
Yeah, they're pretty close.
Okay. So do you have a favorite go-to food place?
Ooh, that's a good question. My wife and I, since we just had a baby, haven't gone out as recent as we should. I'm trying to think. One of our go-to places. Where do we go a lot? I will say my parents live close to Nolensville, so Martin's Barbecue is definitely one. Trying to think somewhere unique.
What about El Tapatio, Jacob?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Spell that for me. El Tapatio?
So off Nolensville Road, there's a really good restaurant called El Tapatio. It's a, I think is it Nicaraguan?
I think it's Mexican.
Mexican?
Hey, that Nicaragua.
It's kind of in the kind of Hispanic part of town over there. Where kind of, it's off Nolensville Road, kind of going into Antioch, I think, the area.
Well, here's what I need you to do. At the end of our show, you're going to shoot me an email with the things each of you talk about, and then we'll put them in the show notes so the people that watch the show or listen to the podcast can find them. Okay, because I don't even know what to write down, so I just write.
You're good. No, it's a good restaurant. I would say, Joe, their best items, their chicken, right? They grill the chicken, and I don't know what they put on it, but like it's the best chicken you'll ever have. So.
Okay.
It's not legal what they put on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, you work together in a business. Who wants to tell me a little bit about what it is you do and how it is you help out people and business owners in the Nashville market? Who wants to take that?
Yeah, I can take that. So, Lendio basically is, at least now it's franchises all over the United States. We basically focus on small businesses that are having trouble receiving or finding funds, whether it be from banks or wherever else they go. We kind of hit a niche where a lot of bankers and other, people can't help these small businesses, because typically banks need at least 2 years of business history. And we hit a niche where, we need roughly about six months of business history and, roughly $10,000 in monthly sales to really help these people to get their foot in the door. And that's what we do mostly is, help supporting those small businesses that are looking for funding, but really can't find it anywhere else.
So like funding for maybe equipment, replacement, payroll, maybe just all sorts of stuff.
Any type of funding. We work with over 75 different lenders, which allows us to really find the loan that they need. So whether it be equipment, if they're looking for cash advance, line of credit, anything like that, really any type of funding they're looking for, we have the means to, help them every step of the way.
This isn't one of those business where you got a couple of wise guys out the back ready to break legs, right? Because I always wonder with these extra funding sources. I've got multiple businesses and I've had to reach out and do funding, some extra funding in the banks. The banks only want to lend you money when you don't need it. Like, they don't want to lend you money when you do need it. Like, what's the point of that? So no, you guys have a pretty good rap. So I don't mind making fun of you a little bit, but so tell us a little bit about the sort of ideal clients that you have found that you've been able to help the most.
John, I don't know if you want to take this one.
Yeah, sure.
A little longer than I have. So.
Yeah, well, to piggyback off what Jacob said and to answer your question, we can lend to all industry essentially in terms of small businesses, and some businesses fall in industries that the banks don't look quite as favorable to, that they consider a little more risky. For example, construction, restaurant, just general retail. Those are some of the industries that can sometimes be a little underserved in terms of access to capital through traditional channels such as banks. And so those are industries that we do quite well with and have multiple lenders with underwriting criteria and models that really cater to those types of businesses, where we can get them capital where maybe they were told no previously by other sources. So those are just a small sample of business types that we can help that that are underserved.
So Jacob had mentioned that about 6 months of books and stuff. With what we've gone through the last 18 months and we're starting to climb out of, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, what happens with that? Because like if you looked at my books for the last 6 months or the last 8 months, it's not good. I mean, if you look back before COVID, you can see what I was at. So how does that work with a business? I think that would be something that we'd be concerned about.
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Ed. And certainly that has had an impact. The pandemic and COVID has had a negative impact on many businesses. For some, as we're aware, it's been, it's been gangbusters for them, but others, it's been the opposite, particularly, food service and those type of industries. And so to your question, we have lenders that can look at those types of scenarios, and see, you had COVID impacted your business. Obviously, your doors had to be closed, yada, yada, yada. And they can look beyond the numbers. And as long as there's a rational and an explainable story, and that they're seeing that there is positive outlook going forward. Yeah. And even if just the last 3 months, for example, show an uptick, even though the last 6 months might suggest a different story, again, there's ways that we can work around that, and not just, because that's really the knock sometimes on traditional banks. They sometimes can't look past just the numbers.
Right. Well, because that's their rules, right? You've got a loan officer So I would imagine that you guys might get some good referrals from banks referring you business that they can't help, right?
Yeah, Jacob, you want to respond to that? That's he's hit the nail on the head there.
No, and that's kind of our main kind of what we try to do. Kind of our day-to-day goal is to build referral partners with as many bankers as possible, because in starting, a lot of bankers, when we first meet with them, they originally think that we want to compete with them, or we are competitors, but in the end, we're not. We really try to help them know that, we're there actually to help them, and kind of go both ways, where, like I said earlier, we hit a niche where bankers can't really help anyone in that. So a lot of small businesses fall through the cracks. And a lot of these people could be, people who bank with them, or they have deposits with them. And so we try to help the bankers save those deposits when, they tell a small business that, sorry, we can't help you. So we're kind of there to, piggyback off the bankers and really, support those, like Joe said, underserved businesses, so that they can get the funding they need. And then, within a year or two, they can go back to their bank and they qualify for a lead with, or they qualify
legal.
for a loan with them.
They can be legal at that point.
Yeah.
Well, they qualify for one of the bank's loans necessarily.
Just to be clear, we're not doing illegal loans here.
No,
that's okay.
I almost said lead, not legal, but
lead. Yeah. So, well, the thing that I think sometimes as a business owner, it gets a little tough, because we've run across these people that have screwed us over maybe a couple of times. We get a little gun shy. We're not quite sure whether, are these guys as good as what they seem. And so it's great. I think, I've known Joe for a while because of the networking group we're in. But Jacob, you and I are meeting probably for the first time, I think.
I visited his group before.
Okay, right. So, but the fact is, you guys you make money from helping other people. If you made money from screwing people over, you wouldn't be in business, right? I mean, and that's really, man, I'm pretty much blunt and to the point. I'm looking to promote and to talk about people that help other people. And that's why I wanted you guys on the show, because I really feel that you bring a certain ability to help other businesses, but you're not some loan shark or something that they might be dealing with, or some of these things that are out there. Hock my Rolex, not that I have a Rolex, but, hock the Rolex at the pawn shop so I can get enough money to pay payroll, right? You guys are the real deal. So, okay, so let's move away a little bit about that. Before we move away from that, what's the best way for somebody to reach out to you guys? And I think you said it's a franchise. So are you guys franchisees, or how's that work? Joe?
Yeah, so we are franchisees, correct. Lendio Corporate, based out of Lehi, Utah, is the corporation. I purchased the Nashville franchise back in 2017, and Jacob joined my team here earlier this year. So yeah, that's essentially our structure. In terms of the best way to reach us, you can just Google Lendio Nashville, and the first result on the right should be our business page that can take you right to our site, learn a little bit more about us, and there's a link to apply. So that would probably be the quickest and easiest way to reach out.
The hard part about interviewing people is you want to jump in there and overtalk them. That works when you're face to face. Doesn't really work on Zoom. I got to get better at that. So I want to cut it off. Another question. Can you spell it for me, please?
Yeah. Lendio
Don't be smart. Don't say IT. That's what my dad would do. His dad joke game is strong. So how do you spell Lendio? Is it?
Yeah, Lendio. It's Lendio.
Okay.
It's almost like the Spanish pronunciation of the word, but yeah, Lendio.
Okay. Well, good. Even an Australian can spell that. I say I'm American by birth, American by choice. So,
nice.
I love the attitude. I love the vibrancy of Nashville, which is why I decided to do this show. And I love how good Nashvillians That sounds like evil, like Nashvillians. Nashville folks, how about that, are good at networking. It's all about networking in this town. It's about building those networks and contacts and how we can help other people. So, Jacob, you've got a new baby at home. Is that what you were saying?
I do. Yeah, he just turned 3 months. So at the end of this month, he'll turn 4 months on the 25th.
Okay. Well, let's test you out. Show us your dad joke game. You don't have long before you're going to need those dad jokes.
I don't know. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, I know. That's normally what happens. You know, it's not always that you. My dad actually used to work his way around town and drive past the cemetery just so he could say, "Hey, that's the dead center of town." You know, so you can't pre-plan a lot of dad jokes. I was sitting at a hotel one day. And I just gotten a continental breakfast, had this big blueberry muffin. And my kids come up to me and said, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing?" I look at the muffin. I look at them. I look at the muffin. I look at them. I say, "Muffin."
I'll try and slip one in if I get a chance.
Okay. Well, I'm not
Google
giving you too much time to think about it. Joe, now, do you have kids?
I do.
Okay. So your dad joke game must be strong.
Nowhere near your level, Ed. My go-to is I do have a good knock-knock joke.
Okay.
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana. Okay, so that's kind of my
go-to.
go-to.
My favorite joke is knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow. Okay, yeah, I've heard that one. That's a good one.
We've lost all the 3 viewers that we had now. So that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll get them back. Okay, Jacob, come on, dude. Okay,
he's got nothing.
We got to send him to the school. We got to send him to the school of dad jokes.
You do.
Yeah.
I'm not on your guys' level.
I just heard they were building a new restaurant on the moon. I'm thinking, well, the scenery will be great. The views will be awesome. But the atmosphere, it won't have any. That's what I've got. So, you know, I tell my dad jokes and, you know, sometimes he even laughs. You know, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you doing for sports when you guys aren't working? What do you do in the community? Do you have mentoring programs that you do? Do you have any volunteering stuff that you like to talk about? Any nonprofits you want to cover? Any sports that you do? Are you ultimate disc golf people? Ultimate disc golf? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Joe's pretty big into some sports.
Well, I like to cycle, road bike, Ed. I go out with a crew pretty regularly and do that out in the beautiful country.
Roads? On Nashville roads?
We are strategic, Ed, on where we cycle. We do it early morning, number one. And number two, we're out on country roads that aren't heavily traveled. So you're correct. If we were in urban Nashville cycling, we would be dead pretty soon.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm like, you know, I'm not really into fitness unless it's fitness donut in my mouth. I mean, when I go to the gym, the way I work out is do diddly squats. That's all I do. Yeah. I sit in the lobby and drink a cup of coffee. That's about it.
Yeah.
But, okay. And Jacob, with a young baby, you've gotten pretty good at changing diapers, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's my sport. No, no, I would say during the week, not a whole lot. We mostly are at home, but on Fridays, for our church, my wife and I, so at church we have a young men and young women's groups on Fridays. Over in that area where we were talking about earlier, kind of Nolensville Road, Antioch area is where we attend church. And I am one of the advisors for the young men. And so we help, them they come and meet on Fridays and we do activities. We play a lot of soccer. We kind of teach them life skills like last week. And they're between 12 and 18. And so we just help them with life skills, sports, get to become friends, learn about the gospel.
And what church is that? If somebody was watching and maybe was close by and they wanted to bring their guys and gals to that, where would they go?
Yeah, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Nolensville off Haywood Lane. Actually, the Saints, like at the bottom of the street, you'll find El Tapatio.
That's right.
It's all right there.
Nice spot. I mean, maybe what they need somebody like me or Joe that knows networking to come and teach them how to be effective networkers. Because as they get older, it's all about networking. So that's
it is.
So, what else? What are some hidden things? If I'm coming to Nashville, or maybe I've lived on one side of town all my life and I don't know about the other side of town, what's some hidden gems around Nashville that you could talk about?
Jacob, any that come to mind?
He seems to take a little bit of time to like think through his answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get out as much as I probably should, I guess.
Well, but it's been 10 years. I mean, okay. Like one of the things I like is there's normally a good movie theater in town that you love going to. And there's normally a crappy one that you're like, I'll only go there if it's the only place that's showing.
That's how it used to be in, I guess you'd say Antioch, Smyrna area. They used to have the Dollar Theater, which they just upgraded to an AMC, which is now really nice. But the one that my family likes to go to is the Thoroughbred in Cool Springs. That one's with the dine-in. You can dine in when you watch a movie, which is pretty fancy.
While you're watching the movie, they'll bring food.
Yeah, you can bring your food, which is really awesome. But I think one thing that my family likes, we like some fairly outdoorsy stuff. So my family during the summer, we like to boat a lot. So we're at Percy Priest Lake a lot, which is kind of headed toward. That's also kind of like the Antioch area. Yeah.
Right.
I seem to be out in Antioch a lot, I guess. And then another place we like to go are a lot of the waterfalls. They're not necessarily in Nashville, but they're, in Middle Tennessee. There's like Cumberland Falls. Then you can hike like the Fiery Gizzard, which you can, I think like a mile or two in, you get some like waterfalls. This is more like, outdoorsy stuff where you can go and swim. And it's just fun family activities. So.
Right. Yeah. So like one of my, I like to eat. Go figure, right? I found a Colton Steakhouse. Now, I know there's Colton Steakhouses in different parts of the country, but there's not a lot around Nashville. But there's one in Dixon. And so it's a little drive, right? It's about 40 minutes. But, man, it's always packed. The food's always good. Like I like those onion straw thingies that they do. Dip them in a bit of ranch or a bit of barbecue sauce. So I drive out to Dixon occasionally to go to the Colton Steakhouse out there. And then if I'm too lazy, and I was born lazy and recently had a relapse, but I'll go to the Santa Fe Trail Steakhouse, but I don't know where that is. Like I know how to get to it. And I know, like, I get confused with like bloody Old Hickory Boulevard. Like it circles the whole city. I'm like, I get lost all the time. But I think this is down near Grand Old, like the Grand Old Opry or however you say that. I'm not, obviously as an Australian, I am a true Southerner, Southern Hemisphere. And all.
Got the lingo down. Grand Ole Opry. That's what it's called.
Grand Old Opry. Okay, great. All I know is Minnie Pearl. I used to listen to her old shows on YouTube. But the Santa Fe Steakhouse, they're pretty cool. And the prices, it's 20 years ago prices. Like you can get a decent steak and a decent feed for $12, $15. Like who does that? So those are my two places. Is both happen to be steakhouses. I wonder why. I like the meat. What can I say? Even an Arby's will do occasionally, but where's the meat? Anyway, that's their thing right now. What about you, Joe? What are you doing for fun?
Yeah, I mean, as far as restaurants, one of our favorites, it's actually a chain, but there's only a couple of them in town. Is Chuy's Mexican food.
Oh, yeah.
They put a new one in Brentwood.
Oh, yeah.
I got introduced to Chuy's the first week I was down here. That bar that you can like just keep going back to. That's pretty good.
Yeah, good Tex-Mex food. Very the jalapeno ranch sauce is amazing.
Jalapeno dip.
Yes, thank you, creamy jalapeno.
Okay.
And then a unique little known spot for the outdoorsy people. There is the awesome private cave not far from Nolensville, just south of Nolensville. I'm sorry, I got this printer going on for some reason in the background, called Snail Shell Cave.
Oh, I've heard about that. I haven't been yet.
Yeah, it is a private cave. So you have to reach out to the owner. Just Google Snail Shell Cave and reach out to the ownership of the cave. And essentially you have to, get a permit to go in it. But it is a unique cave where you can the opening has a left option and a right option. And if you go left, you got to be in full-blown wetsuit because you are going to be swimming up the cave. It's wall-to-wall water, and you literally just kind of wade your way up the cave into some other really cool cave features. And then if you go right, it's more of your traditional cave experience where you can navigate on rocks and see lots of cool formations. But that's probably one of the more unique things I've done since living here that really enjoyed.
Right. And that's one of the things, I was born and raised in Australia, lived there till I was 22. I had to learn more about Australia when I came over here because everybody had asked questions. Yeah. This is before the internet, right? Like 1989, 1990. We still used our World Book encyclopedias. Right. So it's a while ago. So that's how we find out about these little unique experiences is talking to people. Right. And so I appreciate you sharing that with me. Guys, any last thoughts on business? Any last, what are you listening to? What are you reading? Any business tips? Any more tips about getting the most out of Nashville, the Nashville experience? The floor is yours, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, well, I would say, and you hit on it earlier, but, really Nashville is a great town to just get out and rub shoulders and meet people and network more so than anywhere I've lived before. It truly is, that a handshake is worth a lot in this town. And so I would encourage anyone in terms of small businesses and those that are trying to grow their brand and grow their business, get out in the community and get out and network, because this is just a great town for it, and people respond very favorable to it, where in some markets and some cities, it doesn't work, honestly. Right. That would be my 2 cents on business. And I'm very optimistic on the outlook for Nashville. Obviously we're coming out of some pretty tough times with the pandemic, but very, very excited about what's going on in Nashville and have nothing but optimism and confidence in a very bright future for business and small businesses in particular.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's about attitude, and I think Tennessee, whether you're an implant into Tennessee or whether you've been here all your life, they have that frontier pioneering attitude that nothing's going to keep them down. And that's, I'm getting chills just talking about it, but that's one of the things that I love about the Nashville area. Business owners are positive. They're saying, look, whatever gets in our way, it doesn't matter. We're going to knock it out of the way, and we're going to keep moving forward. And that's really important to me, that I want to be around that community and that network of people that has that mindset. What about for yourself, Jacob? Anything that you'd like to add?
No, I think just to piggyback off what Joe said about, networking and shaking hands. I just wanted to say that we are having a networking event on Tuesday that we're putting together, Crowd Pitch. It's an interesting networking event. It's kind of like a twist where we'll have some Shark Tank type contestants there, where they'll present some small business. We'll have some panelists, some bankers who will basically judge these small businesses, and it's a good way to learn about lending and also to come and network. So
yeah, some good food too.
Good food too. So
free food? Would they have to buy the food?
Yeah, so I can definitely send over.
It's a $15 ticket or something, right? $15.
Yeah, we were doing.
For your listeners, Ed, we have a promo code. Oh, they can get in for free lunch. Hang
on a second. This probably won't air for your event this year. Okay.
Darn it.
So it's probably not going to go out before Tuesday, which is Tuesday. But you do this yearly, right?
Well, we're actually going to start doing them quarterly, hopefully. And so we will hopefully, once we finish this one, hopefully start planning another one within the next month or so. So it will start to be a more frequent thing just because of COVID. It kind of killed it. And, because I know Joe's done too. This is the first one that I'm, hosting and, for Lendio, for a franchise. But either way, we will be having lots of them.
Okay. So guys, that sounds like a great idea. And I don't know the details of how it works. Joe, you and I talked about it a little bit during our last one-to-one, I think. But that would be great information for you to shoot in the email so I can put in the show notes so that they can look at that moving forward. Who knows? Somebody might not watch this for a year. Be their loss. Be their loss, like they should be watching it. But
exactly.
Okay. So well, I'm excited to have had you guys on the show. I'll endorse you. I think that you've got a great attitude. I think that you're honest, you have integrity, and that to me is above anything else. And really, when we are sucking at finding the funding that we need guys like you that have integrity, that we can know and trust, and go and hopefully look at different options. And you guys have so many lenders that you can reach out to, that it's just a great way. It's a one-stop shop to try and get the help that I need as a business owner.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. Thanks for being on the show. Hang around a second. We'll finish up the recording. Have a great day. And make sure to check us out, Nashville2.com or YouTube. Thanks.